So there's different methods of stripping court. Some tried and true, some are relatively new. But we're going to talk about various different applications and different methods and show you some equipment as well. The first one is a blade application. Now this particular method is used at the U.S. Open and some of the major tournament sites. What they have is they have a custom-made blade. It's made from a machine shop. It's about 24 inches wide. And what they've done is they've sharpened it so that it's razor sharp. And they sharpen it, every few courts. That's what they do. What they do is they insert it into the cushion layers at probably roughly a 45-degree angle. And then it's mounted on a bobcat. And then it's inserted into the cushion. And then they just slowly push. And then using some scrapers on the perimeter, they will roll the cushion up almost like a carpet. It's very effective. And the machine does most of the work for you. It can be time consuming. And one of the critical factors is that it must be warm. You can't do that on a cold day because then the coatings will actually shatter or crack a little bit. Here's a picture of the blade itself. You can see in the front it's mounted right on the bobcat. And it's razor sharp. And there's the aftermath. They actually roll it up and like I said, it looks like carpet. And it's a very effective way. You can use it on stripping up cushion, particularly if there are a number of layers in a particular system. If you're talking a 2 or 3 coat color system and there's a separate issue, this is probably not your most effective method. But it is something that can be done, and it's something that can be done locally if you're willing to get the custom-made blade and mount it on your machinery if you have the proper machinery. And there's the aftermath. As you can see, it's pretty consistent, pretty smooth. The surface is not damaged. So now we're going to talk a little bit about some grinding and milling.
All right, how's that? I'm going to go into a few pieces of of equipment that's being used out there now, and it really speeds up the process and helps you guys to prepare a court. The first one I want to talk about is a buffing machine. And as you know, everybody's been using like hand scrapers, what have you. They go out there with a hand scraper and they walk the court with a blower behind them and they scrape and they get the court clean, and that works great. But there's a lot of cases where a buffing machine will do that faster, and it does more than just scrape a court. In instances where you have a court that's been in the shade, where it's got dirty and scaly and slimy, a buffing machine can take all that down. And there's different pads that you can put on these buffing machines that help you to grind them off. There's a few different kinds here. This is just a paper back piece of a machine. You can pass this around. Anybody have to come up and get these? Then you have that same thing, but it would be, wait, hold on, I got more to give you. Same thing, but this one has a fabric back, which means you can go out and you can do it where it's damp, moisture. It won't just tear apart. So it lasts a little bit longer. And then you've got a metal one. And these metal ones are just have carbide, which is welded onto these. And this will take most anything down. This is also good for if you come when you come across, not if you do, when you come across cracks that have been filled numerous times, and now you got a speed bump. And it looks like a small crack on top, but when you take that speed bump down, you're going to see a big wide crack underneath. Something like that will take that right down, saves a lot of time. Let's see here. Okay, and the uses to take down raised cracks. It's also, these things are excellent for doing bird baths. When you're filling in a bird bath, if you've left it a little rough or have mounds and stuff, these buffing machines and pads can take that stuff right down a lot easier than a hand grinder or a scraper. And in general, they do a much, much better job. It's a much more professional job. If you're filling a crack and you're just going to paint over it, once you buff these things down, they are totally smooth. You won't know there's a crack there until, of course, they expand and contract and they open again. But until that point, these things really clean it up. They're good for if you have a court that's got bubbles on them. You come across, you got all these little bubbles. You can take a buffing machine, go over the court. Probably can do it in 3 or 4 hours. Take all the bubbles out of the court and continue on from there. Next thing is a router. We have a picture up here, don't we? Let's see here. I'm going to go to the milling machine because it's right there. Okay, milling machine or a scarifier. These have a drum underneath, and on the drum you have different little blades, or whatever you want to call them. They're just little round blades, and they can either be steel or carbide. The steel blades leave the coat a little bit smoother, and the carbide blades will take it right down. So again, if you have a crack that has been mounted up, you can walk it down. These are about 10 inches wide, so you can walk right down the crack, and it'll open it right up. It'll leave it smooth, so you're not scraping or trying or just leaving it. You can take down an entire quart with these things. It's going to take you a little bit longer, but this will definitely take off any kind of coatings you have. So again, scarifiers take down, again, bubbles, coatings. They take down the bumps. Like if you come to a bump, a lot of guys heat them up with a torch and then pound them with a sledgehammer. And I guess that works, but if you have a milling machine there, in 30 seconds, you can mill it right down, totally flush with the quart. You can set these milling machines so that you can take down a 16th or an 8th or whatever depth you want to take down. They will take it down. So it just really speeds up your process. On a lot of quotes now, people are asking you to route out the quart or do whatever. At least if you have the right equipment, you can get that job done. Again, around that milling machine works excellent around net posts. So if you've got a net post that's raised up on one end a little bit, and you've all seen that and try to figure out what to do, just leave it, or sometimes you put quart patch binder around to smooth it up. You can mill that right down. This milling machine will take that concrete, just flush with the quart in just a matter of minutes. So that's another use. Okay, that's good for scarifiers. Let's go to the router now. Is there another? We got a router on here, Tom? No. This is just stripping. That's buffing. Power washing. There's a router. Okay, routing machine, as you see up there, just has, it looks like a drill bit underneath. Okay, and you can get these little bits in all sizes from 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, whatever you want to do. And what you can do with these is you chase the crack, which means you start in the crack and you want to open it up. The routing machine you can just push it along and follow that crack. So if you've got cracks, you've all seen them with weeds sticking out, what have you. And still to this day, and I'm sure people I talk to today even still attack this stuff with a screwdriver. They get their guys on their hands and knees, and they're digging the stuff out with a screwdriver. If you're using a milling machine, it'll go 10 times faster, do a better job, opens that crack right up. I mean, the router. That will open those things right up. So a routing machine is just another tool that you can use to allow you to get down into that crack and really fill it properly. Also, that milling machine I was talking about before opens up a crack. A lot of times you'll see that crack and it's been filled and it looks like it's 1/4 inch wide. And you mill over that, and now you see it's 1 inch wide. Well, at least you can fill that properly. It's really, doing the customer service. You're working much faster and doing a better job. Let's go next to just your basic blowers. I still see people out there brooming off a quart before they paint it. Number one, you don't get everything off. Number two, it just takes forever. And I see backpack blowers, and they're good. They'll blow off. They're good for sidewalks. But when you got a big tennis court or a bank of courts, that walk-behind blower that's very powerful, like most guys use, is the way to go. I guess I'm getting down to there are machines out here now and equipment that really helps everybody do a better job. And I know, every piece of equipment costs a little bit more money, but most things last quite some time. I mean, if you take care of a blower, you take care of a router, you take care of a milling machine and stuff, those things are going to last you years. You're talking 4, 5, 6 years per, and it's really going to help you out. Go down here. Your handheld tools, obviously. You got your handheld scrapers. Some people still use a mason stone. It's just a little handheld stone that the masons use. You can rub, and if you've put your coatings down like a coat resurfacer and you see an arrow or where a bump has been where they didn't scrape it first, you can just push that down with one of these mason stones. That works good. Another piece of equipment that's excellent on your job site is a generator. I mean, how many times you get to a house and someone blows a circuit and you're all done for the day because no one's home and you don't have any power. If you got your own generator, you plug it right in. It's good to have. Generators are an excellent piece of equipment. What else? Oh, another one that people really don't think about, and probably Tom was going to say something about this, but a mixer. A lot of guys don't use mixers, but it's a great piece of equipment. I mean, most mixers that I see out there now will hold about 300 gallons, which means you can dump 355s in there, add your water, and if it comes without the sand, you add your sand. While you're coating these quartz, that mixer continues to run, so you get the same texture throughout all the quartz. I've been on jobs where guys mix the stuff in their shop. Now they drive it to a job site. By the time you get to the job site, the sand is settled to the bottom, and they dip off the top and they start doing the court, and one end of the court is smooth and the other end of the court is rough. So having a mixer that keeps it agitated while you're applying the coatings is a real good thing. It also makes even color. You don't get change of colors between quartz. So that's a benefit.